Our next guest is a two-time NBA champion, 11-time NBA All-Star, and Olympic gold medalist. And if that isn't enough, he's also an artist and record producer that makes music to shed light on the social injustices plaguing our world right now. We can't wait to hear more about it. Please welcome NBA legend Chris Bosh.
I love that. Thank you, guys. I love that. You guys are too nice. How you guys doing?
So happy to have you.
I am just geeking. You know, I love watching you play. You have given me so much joy in the NBA. Thank you so much, especially those championships. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really do.
I'm loving the voice.
It's always been there.
I'm like, wow.
Look at you. Okay. Well, you know, Chris, you're an NBA legend, and in a few minutes, we're going to talk about your music career. But first, do you think athletes should be thinking of a second career when their sports career has come to an end?
Not necessarily. It's kind of a difficult thing to answer. Yes and no. I think finding an interest, finding something else that you love is important. Why you don't have to put so much emphasis on having a job and providing for your family. That thing goes to the sport, just like any other person that's a professional at their craft. You want to be able to put everything into your sport and focus on that. But with that said, you do have an immense amount of free time. In that time, I think it's just wise to kind of just see things that you like, because that's what happened to me. I mean, it was like I got thrown out of a car going 130 on the freeway. I was, the best at what I did. And then one day it wasn't there. So I kind of had to play catch up a little bit and ask myself these questions I had never asked myself.
Wow. Well, you didn't do too bad after you got thrown out of the car, because your latest venture is working on music as a producer and an artist. And the first song you released is called I Want It All with hip-hop artist DZ Brown. And you actually said that the song was inspired by Kobe Bryant. Do you have, a favorite memory of Kobe, and how has he inspired you?
I would say the best one is when he told me he was going to win a Grammy. He told me months, about 6, 7, 8 months before the Grammys even come on.
Wow.
He was telling me his ambitions, and not so much that it was a dream, but he was telling me precise. Kobe is a very precise person. He's going to tell you exactly how he's going to do it. And, more importantly, we were talking about post-retirement things, what we were going to do outside of the game of basketball. And he had pretty much miles and miles on anybody before he passed.
You mean the Oscar, Chris?
The Oscar. What did I say? What did I say?
Right, exactly.
You see what's on my mind.
Because Chris has his mind on the Grammy.
You want a Grammy.
You see what's on my mind, though.
Chris is going to win the Grammy. I see you. Kobe got the Oscar, you going to get the Grammy.
You're going to get the Grammy.
Hey, if you want, you got to start saying it, right?
That's right. You got to manifest it. Manifest it. Chris, I have to ask you, just last week, you released your new single, Imitate. Tell us about the song.
Well, I mean, really, it's just the story from a black man's perspective in America. One thing we don't try to do too much is try to think too much in the music that we make and the music that we produce. We tell real stories. And this is a point of view that I think a lot of people will find surprising. And then other people will nod their heads and understand quite clearly what we're trying to say. It's our perspective, and we're just trying to continue to push out stories.
Something else you were pushing out is, the right to vote. You were encouraging others to vote during this election season, and that was something that was very important to you. You even successfully helped to get the NCAA to mandate an election break for student athletes. That was great. Why was that so important to you?
It's so hard being a student athlete, and I'm not talking about the best football player at Alabama or the best basketball player at Kentucky. I'm talking about the lacrosse player, the women's field hockey player who has all these demands on top of the pressure and the responsibility of being a student. They didn't have any time, to vote. There's no time to vote. And even if you're into it, the coaches could schedule practice, or you have weights, or you have different responsibilities that you have to fulfill. I just thought it was a wonderful, wonderful idea that the coalition of students had made. And so I think really, for one, getting young people involved in the voting process is very important. And two, you never know what could happen. I think it would be very cool. It's not a day off, but one of the things and ideas that were floating around was to have a day of service for those who cannot vote in the state. So you can help volunteers at the voting places like that. And I think for the schools, it would be a wonderful thing. I mean, who knows the amount of youth you can inspire, because man, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets came to my school and told me, or they helped my grandmother in this situation.
Wow, that's great.
I think it could be a very powerful thing.
Chris, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Chris's new single, Imitate, is available now on all major digital outlets, so be sure to check it out.